The lurking shadow. Have you felt it? Darkness falls, shadows lengthen. As the sun dips below the horizon, the world transforms. The familiar becomes strange, and the comforting light gives way to an unsettling gloom. A chill wind whispers through the trees. It carries with it secrets of the night, tales of the unknown, and the whispers of those who have walked these paths before us. Have you ever felt a shiver run down your spine, a primal instinct warning you of something unseen? It's a feeling that transcends logic, a deep-rooted sense of unease that tells you to be wary. Across cultures and throughout history, humans have been drawn to tales of the supernatural. These stories are more than mere entertainment. They are reflections of our deepest fears and curiosities. We tell stories of creatures that lurk in the night, preying on the living. These tales serve as warnings, as explanations for the unexplainable, and as a way to make sense of the darkness that surrounds us. But what if these stories are more than just myth? What if there is a grain of truth in the legends passed down through generations? What if, somewhere out there, something truly does thirst for our lifeblood? The idea of vampires has persisted for centuries, evolving and adapting to fit the fears of each era. This essay delves into the captivating world of vampires. We will uncover the origins of these creatures, tracing their roots back to ancient civilizations and exploring how they have been depicted in various cultures. We will explore their ancient origins, their evolution through time, and their undeniable grip on our collective imagination. From the earliest myths to modern-day portrayals, vampires have always fascinated and terrified us. Join us on a journey into the heart of darkness, where we will confront the question that has haunted humanity for millennia. Are vampires real? As we delve deeper, we will examine the evidence, the folklore, and the cultural impact of these enigmatic beings. Prepare yourself for a journey that will challenge your perceptions and ignite your imagination. Whispers from the past. Ancient echoes of the undying. These whispers have traveled through the corridors of time, echoing the fears and beliefs of ancient civilizations. The vampire myth is not confined to a single culture or time period. It transcends borders and epochs, weaving its way into the fabric of human history. Its roots run deep into our collective past, appearing in ancient civilizations across the globe. From the shadowy corners of forgotten temples to the cryptic symbols etched in stone, the legend of the vampire has left its mark. In Mesopotamia, tales spoke of the Akaru, malevolent spirits that rose from the grave to prey on the living. These spirits were feared and revered, their stories passed down through generations. These creatures, much like later depictions of vampires, were believed to drain the life force from their victims, leaving behind withered husks. The fear of becoming one of these lifeless shells haunted the people of Mesopotamia. In ancient Egypt, stories circulated about bloodthirsty deities like Sekhmet, a lion-headed goddess with a fearsome reputation. Sekhmet was not just a deity of war, but also a symbol of the destructive power of the sun. She was said to be capable of draining the blood of her enemies, leaving them withered and lifeless. Her legend was a reminder of the thin line between life and death, and the power that lay in the balance. These ancient myths, though differing in specific details, share a common thread: the fear of a predatory being that exists beyond the realm of the living, sustained by the life force of the innocent. This fear has transcended time, evolving but never disappearing. As we delve deeper into these ancient echoes, we uncover a tapestry of beliefs and fears that have shaped human history. The vampire myth, in its many forms, is a testament to our enduring fascination with the unknown and the supernatural. From the shadowy figures that lurk in the corners of our imagination to the flickering torchlight that once illuminated ancient texts, the legend of the vampire continues to captivate and terrify. These stories, passed down through the ages, remind us of the thin veil that separates the living from the dead and the eternal struggle between light and darkness. As we explore these ancient echoes, we are reminded of the power of myth and the ways in which it shapes our understanding of the world. The vampire, in all its forms, is a symbol of our deepest fears and our unending quest for knowledge. The ancient echoes of the undying continue to resonate, a haunting reminder of the past and a testament to the enduring power of myth. These stories, though ancient, still hold a mirror to our modern fears and fascinations. As we listen to these whispers from the past, we are drawn into a world where the line between reality and myth blurs, and the echoes of the undying continue to captivate our imagination. From corpse to count, the metamorphosis of the vampire myth. The vampire myth, as we know it today, did not spring fully formed from the ancient world. It is a tapestry woven from the threads of various cultures, each adding its own unique elements to the legend. It evolved over centuries, shaped by cultural beliefs, folklore, and even real-life occurrences. From the ancient Mesopotamians who feared the blood-drinking demoness Lilitu, to the Romans who told tales of the Strix, a bird-like creature that fed on human flesh, the vampire myth has deep and varied roots. During the Middle Ages, vampire lore began to solidify in Eastern Europe. This period saw the rise of the upir in Slavic folklore, a reanimated corpse that preyed on the living, often returning to their families disguised as a loved one. These tales were not just stories, but were believed to be real threats, leading to various rituals to prevent the dead from rising. Slavic folklore gave rise to the upir, a reanimated corpse that preyed on the living, often returning to their families disguised as a loved one. These creatures were often blamed for unexplained deaths and illnesses, and communities would go to great lengths to protect themselves, including staking corpses and burying them face down. In Greece, tales of the vrikolakas, a similar creature often associated with plagues and disease, spread fear throughout the region. The vrikolakas was believed to be a restless spirit that could cause death and destruction, and its presence was often linked to outbreaks of disease. These beings were often described as bloated and discolored, with an insatiable thirst for blood. This imagery, linking vampires with disease and decay, would become a defining characteristic of the myth in centuries to come. The fear of the unknown and the unseen, combined with the very real threat of disease, made these stories all the more terrifying. This imagery, linking vampires with disease and decay, would become a defining characteristic of the myth in centuries to come. As societies evolved, so did the vampire myth, incorporating new fears and anxieties. The vampire became a symbol of the other, the outsider who threatened the community from within. This transformation continued into the modern era, where the vampire took on new forms in literature and film, becoming both a figure of horror and a symbol of forbidden desire. A World of Fang's regional flavors of the undying. As the vampire myth spread throughout Europe and beyond, it adapted to local customs and beliefs, resulting in a fascinating array of regional variations. In Romania, the strigoi were said to be able to shapeshift into animals, particularly wolves and bats, further blurring the line between man and beast. In China, the zhang-shi, also known as the hopping vampire, was believed to move by hopping with outstretched arms, often clad in the official robes of the Qing dynasty. These regional interpretations demonstrate the adaptability of the vampire myth, its ability to take root and flourish in diverse cultural landscapes. Beyond the grave vampires in the tapestry of culture, the enduring fascination with vampires is evident in their prominent place in art, literature, and popular culture. From the gothic horror of Bram Stoker's Dracula to the seductive allure of Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicles, these creatures have captivated audiences for centuries. Classical paintings often depicted vampires as grotesque and monstrous, reflecting the fear and revulsion they inspired. However, modern interpretations often portray them as alluring and seductive figures, reflecting a cultural shift in our perception of these creatures. Whether they are figures of terror or objects of desire, vampires continue to enthrall and intrigue us. Undying allure, the vampire in the modern age. The vampire myth has proven remarkably adaptable, evolving with each passing generation. In the modern era, vampires have transcended their monstrous origins, becoming increasingly complex and nuanced figures in literature, film, and television. From the brooding romance of Twilight to the gritty realism of Let the Right One In, vampires continue to reflect our anxieties and desires. Modern vampire stories often explore themes of immortality, alienation, and the struggle between good and evil. They serve as a lens through which we examine our own humanity, our fascination with the forbidden, and our fear of the unknown. The bite of reality, when legends seem real. While vampires are firmly rooted in the realm of myth and folklore, There have been numerous instances throughout history where real-life events have fueled the belief in these creatures. Cases of supposed vampiric activity, often involving unexplained deaths and exhumations revealing unusual post-mortem conditions, have been documented across Europe and North America. These incidents, often fueled by fear and superstition, highlight the powerful hold that vampire lore has on the human psyche. While scientific explanations can often debunk these occurrences, the enduring fear of the undead continues to linger. An enduring mystery. Will we ever truly know? The question of whether vampires truly exist remains a source of endless fascination and debate. While there is no scientific evidence to support their existence, the vampire myth persists, fueled by our deepest fears and desires. Perhaps the true power of the vampire lies not in its literal existence, but in its ability to tap into our primal anxieties, our fascination with the unknown, and our enduring search for meaning in a world that often feels dark and unpredictable. So, as you turn off the lights tonight and feel a chill run down your spine, ask yourself, do you believe?